We're on the air?
Yes, we're on the air, man. Live and direct. It's Dash to Connect.
Yo, what it is, I be that mouthy mofo off the Midwest, Ted Grams.
Pops is here, as they call me. Give these guys some wisdom, teach these young boys
Tell us something good, Pops. What's going on, y'all?
about the game of basketball and that kind of stuff. Pops is here.
Well, if we talking basketball, then let's jump right into it. I know we reporting live from the 216, everybody know that. And if you from around this way, then we had a matchup featuring the home team against the Portland Trail Blazers, and you didn't have to be up long to see the King LeBron James kind of epitomize everything that I've been saying about him. And I feel so strongly about this. Yes, I'm about to speak on a very crazy play that was made, in a losing effort, albeit, but just a crazy effort from an individual. And it's, I think it kind of culminated and epitomizes the consistent greatness and just undying greatness of LeBron James. He had a caliber that he just refuses to fall, and it's really something remarkable that we seeing right now out of just that hometown star, just a kid from Akron, man, but a monster jam over Yusuf Nurkic last night, and it was just, I thought it was 06 again. Did anybody else get that feeling? Pops, did you get that feeling?
Nice dunk. What about them bad shots he took last night and him and Ty Lue?
Well, hey, that's all part of the game. But the dunk, I thought, was a statement that really spoke to his greatness and just his undying will this year just to carry this team. And I don't know, I just felt like I was watching the GOAT. He just been having a lot of moments where I'm watching him do his thing, and I'm just like, man, this is the greatest of all time. Certainly the greatest that I've ever seen. And it is, I mean, no matter what the outcome seems to be, if there make no question about LeBron James and what he comes to do night in and night out, that's all I'm saying. For those who tuned into our first episode, just know I had to remind these guys, and I just thought a play like that, I mean, so key this week, just really confirming everything that I was talking about. I just wanted to start with that because I thought that was big for the city and big for LeBron James. And, big ups to the point that I made last week that we going back to the finals and that we won't be denied and that he won't be denied because he is the king.
Oh, man, word on the street is that Toronto coming out the East, Chris.
Hey, the streets talk, baby, but they don't always tell the truth. Look, they wasn't ready for that, y'all. Yeah, the streets talk, but they don't always tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? But I don't. You said Toronto coming out the East.
That's what they're telling me, Chris. That's what they're telling me. That's the word on the street.
Yeah, not too much in my city. Not too much here in Cleveland, but no, I definitely got some respect for what Toronto has done. But as I look at they win streak, because we've seen this before out of them. I'm wondering, could one of you basketball minds enlighten me on what it is exactly that's different about this Toronto team? Because we've seen them capture the high seed before. If the second seed, a 2 seed, if it wasn't the first seed, we've seen them play very well throughout the regular season. I just think there's one of those teams you got to kind of temper your expectations. They definitely gonna have to show it to me first. Not a team. Those aren't stars that I want to bet on, and I'm talking about DeMar DeRozan, who I do think is fantastic. But I just think paired up with Kyle Lowry, it's a whole lot too great a difference for him to make up against my man LeBron James.
Hey, they're not playing as much ISO ball anymore, so I think they're gonna be a lot tougher to defend.
Well, hey, that's easy to do during the regular season, but we all know when things get tighter in the playoffs, that's exactly when ISO ball is going to be a bigger factor. The games will slow down. Road players won't play as big on the road and then against those hostile home crowds. So I'm just wondering, yeah, okay, I get that. So are you telling me this is a team where the chemistry is just so great that they're going to beat the likes of superstar talents like Kyrie Irving, who's out in Boston, and contend with LeBron James, obviously who's here in Cleveland? Like, is the team that good? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think they're better than Boston. I said that last week. I'm gonna repeat that again this week. Defensively, I think they can get it done, and between DeRozan and Lowry, they can get it done offensively. And I think Pops was referring to, man. It's the chemistry, man. They've been there. A lot of those guys been there for a couple of years. As long as they stay healthy, man, they got a great opportunity to come out the East.
Oh, man, they sound like any team that's going to make the playoffs, though. I said, what's different? That's been the Toronto Raptors, for the last 4 or 5 years. What's the difference? Like, is it DeMar DeRozan and his three-point shooting? Is that what's going to take him over the top? Like, is it the bench? Is the bench going, outplay everybody? Like, what is it exactly that's so much different about the teams that we've seen fall short in the past to make me say, this year, this is the team that's going to do it? Or is everybody just counting on LeBron James having fallen off? Because I'm telling you, you're going to be real upset come playoff time if you're looking for the king to just lay down and surrender his throne.
He doesn't
not
have
going
a
to
side,
happen.
Chris. He doesn't have a sidekick this year.
I understand that. But he hasn't had his sidekick in the past. Like LeBron James, he took Kyrie. Kyrie didn't take LeBron. Let's not forget that. LeBron had been where Kyrie wanted to go. He paved the way for him. He showed him that.
Chris, but to your point, didn't you just say about 2 minutes ago that role players tend to shrink in the playoffs? That's what LeBron is surrounded with now. No other superstars.
But I also been stressing this episode and last episode that this is the GOAT. This is the greatest player of this era. And to me, it's not a real big competition.
Where's his superstar help, though?
He won't need it. Not to get through the East. Not to get through the East. I mean, it's just the way that I feel.
Well, let's head out west, man. We ain't gonna talk too much about the East, man. We talked a lot about it.
Yeah,
last week.
it's been sold up for years. You're right.
He'll be working on 8 years in a row, if I'm correct, or is this his 7 year in a row? If he
be number 8.
Number 8. I'm pretty sure that probably hasn't been done by anybody, but only time will tell, man. Now out west right now, we got the Rockets at the 1 seed, Warriors at the 2 seed, Trailblazers at the 3 seed, Thunder at the 4, Minnesota at the 5th, Pelicans at the 6th, Utah Jazz at the 7th, and the San Antonio Spurs at the 8th. Now it's real tight out there out west. I mean, from the 3 seed to the 8th seed, we talking a 3-game difference between placing in those positions. So out of those matchups, I can repeat them again if y'all need me to. Any matchups that y'all like?
Let me hear them one more time, Des.
Spurs and Rockets, Jazz and Warriors, Pelicans and Blazers, Thunder and Timberwolves.
That could change, though, Des, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that could definitely change in 2 weeks. But, I mean, if the playoffs were to start today, I think that Pelicans and Blazers matchup stands out to me. Anthony Davis, who's cooled off just a little bit as of late, a little bit of injury, called an injury bug. But, I mean, I think that he's somebody who's on fire. Damian Lillard is on fire. Those are two guys who are looking to show that, hey, we ready and hungry to get to the next level and drive their teams to the next level. But I just really like, as a dark horse, the Portland Trail Blazers after what they did show to me, against my Cleveland Cavaliers last night, and then what they've been showing on this recent win streak. I think that went up to, 11 games when they polished us off?
Yeah.
Okay, so, that's a really strong streak late in the season, and they a team who needs streaks like that, because obviously the higher seeding they can be, it just, it helps them, gives them a greater opportunity to go a little bit deeper. But at the same time, I do think that it's time. They a team that's been knocking on the door, kind of reminiscing when I think about them of that Memphis Grizzlies team, like a perennial, playoff maker. They gonna make the playoffs. They a playoff team. You kind of expecting that from them. But at the same time, I think at this point for them, a deep playoff run is at least the Western Conference Finals. Anything else is kind of like, a bit of a disappointment, not quite good enough. Or you just feel like you've done that before. So the time is now, I heard a guy say today that he would take Damian Lillard over Kyrie Irving. And I hear Dame, knocking on the door and beckoning to be involved in MVP conversations and wanting to be involved in the conversation for the best point guard in the league. Is he worthy of that, Pop?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say MVP conversation, but he's one of the top. I don't know, that debate with him and Kyrie I've thought about myself. But Chris, you're not saying they're going to make the Western Conference Finals, are you?
No, I don't. But like I said, I think you got to be imaginative and hopeful, about the competition in today's NBA. Obviously, things are tough out west, but I just I like to think about guys outside of those top 2 seeds, and to me, they just a team, that's on the way, one piece away. I think they need more shooting outside of the 2 guards. I think C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard both, they just got to be better in the bigger moments. Because I'm not going to make any excuses. Like, those are 2 of the best guards in the NBA. And in a guard-driven league. And
they don't match up against the Warriors. Like, I don't see them beating the Warriors in a 7-game series. As the team just isn't good enough. And right now, you said making it to the Western Conference Finals, they would have to beat the Warriors in the second round. And I just don't see that happening, barring injuries.
I mean, like I say, the Warriors, easy to say that for most teams. Like, that's what sucks about the Warriors right now. They've put a wide berth between them and a lot of the competition. And even the Rockets, I think, at this point, have kind of did the same thing and slipped into a similar class of the Warriors because they're executing at a very high level. But I mean,
if I was the Blazers, though, I would love to have a 7-game series with the Rockets before the Warriors as far as matchups.
I mean, I bet you would. I bet you would. I'm pretty sure every coach is taking any other team besides the Warriors if that's the only other option. Like, I'm not arguing that here. We just talk matchups, and to me, that's the one that stood out to me. Those got the hottest guys to me. Damian Lillard is the hottest guy out west, though. He is the hottest right now.
The interesting thing about the West to me is the big question. You guys are saying that San Antonio is going to make the playoffs. You sure of that?
Oh, no, I'm not sure anything like that.
Especially the way they built up this Clippers-Rockets rivalry. They might let the Clippers slide into that A spot just so the Clippers and Houston can have a 7-game series.
When you say let, what are you referring to? Like the NBA pushing for that to happen or what?
That would be the thought, but no, I'm not gonna say that. But it would be more intriguing, I believe, to the fans. Unless Kawhi come back, well then yeah, you'd rather see Kawhi try to beat the Rockets in a 7-game series.
I mean, I understand Chris Paul used to play for the Clippers and all that good stuff, but without Blake, like.
I mean, they got into it a little. Did you see the game last night? They got into it a little bit.
No, I didn't. I didn't catch it.
Yeah, they had a little drawing back and forth between Austin Rivers and James Harden as he hit the go away bucket. Put
so it was a competitive game. Then
Harden and that other kid too. What is his name? Treadwell or somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got into it a little bit.
Just talking. He told him. I think they said if you read James Harden's mouth that he said, he was scared to step up talking to Rivers.
I don't doubt that. James Harden is a bad boy. That's a bad boy. You seen what he did. I think who was that? Wesley Johnson. He'll put you right down. You step up, man. So you better stay back. Spin the rock with the 3 ball. You know what I'm saying? So don't try to guard that guy.
If Kawhi comes back, you're telling me San Antonio's in the playoffs. No question. If he plays
no question.
Within the next week or so?
No question. No question in my mind. Kawhi's that caliber player. I think he synchronizes and galvanizes with that group.
So who's on the outs? Denver and LA? Probably are on the outs, right?
Yeah. If you go with the Spurs. You got the Jazz.
Yeah. The Jazz are in, right? We all agree on with that.
Well, I think maybe LA could sneak in instead of the Jazz.
No, LA. Oh, you talking about the Clippers? Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Jazz are 20 and 2 in their last 22 games, something like that.
Yeah, they're 9-1 in their last 10 with 8 straight.
Yeah, Jazz playing real well, and they defend.
Yeah, that like I said though, their best guy is a very young guy. He's never played 82 games before. I think that stretch, like you said, they're so close. All you have to do is slip a handful of games, you know what I'm saying? You lose 4 or 5 out of your last 10, and that could cost you a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, this
especially
is a young
how
guy.
tight it is right now.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? We talking about, what we say, there's 3 games between 3 and 8.
Yeah.
Nothing's locked in for anybody. And like I said, their best guy is a young guy. And, this is a long NBA season, and we've heard guys say That's one of the biggest adjustments. This is a long, toiling season, and you talk about, playing for the playoffs as well, so every game matters. It's not like he in a position to kind of coast through. Tough thing to really say is guaranteed for a young team like that. They got a big-time young star, though. Real big fan of Donovan Mitchell out there.
But they got a team, though, that was, what was it, third seed? Or no, they fourth seed last year. This is a team that, besides Hayward, they brought back a lot of the guys that were on that team. They lost Hill, too, and Joe Johnson.
And Rudy Gobert's been out all year. Like, I don't know. I just think a lot of the top guys, when you talk about that team from last year, they haven't been as big of a presence this year. It kind of feels like Donovan Mitchell. I'm not saying that there aren't some role players in place, but definitely Donovan Mitchell has been the difference. There's no denying that. It's not like, oh, this was a playoff team that he came to. Like, no, they needed his lift, especially after Gobert went down.
Is the Western Conference still considerably better than the Eastern Conference?
Competitively, I think so, and I think a lot of that, it's got to do with, the way the teams are built overall out west, and I think a lot of that has got to do with, the greatness of LeBron James, because I think the real estate that he's put between himself and the rest of the Eastern Conference over the course of his career, I mean, the rest of the East is relatively competitive, no?
And then with the West, you got the two great teams, Houston and Golden State. Other than that, I mean, I think Portland can be beat by some of those teams in the East, if you ask me. If that's the third best team out there. I mean, who's to say that Toronto or Boston wouldn't beat them in a series?
Well, hey, check this out. Are y'all done with the prospect of OKC kind of like figuring it out? Is it officially time for those fans to give that notion up?
No, I said last week, I'm going to wait till the playoffs, but I'm going to give Russell and Paul George a chance to do it in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, you got to give him a puncher's chance with those two. You never know. I mean, because those two.
Is that what it is, though? A puncher's chance? Is it all that it is? Because, we touched on it a little bit last week, but this was a lot of guys' team to win it all. They felt like this, once they got Melo, they were in a position, and they showed great potential defensively. I think for much of the season, I don't know how they are playing particularly right now, but they were one of the better teams defensively.
They're 7-3 in their last 10 with 4 wins straight, and sitting currently at the 4th seed in the West.
Yeah. Losing that guard, the defensive guard, was it Cephalosha? What's his name? The other guy.
Andre Robertson.
Yeah, Robertson. Yeah, when they lost him, I think that kind of hurt a little bit. Melo, I think Melo's, getting a little long in the tooth. I don't know how big a factor he'll be.
You don't like Hoodie Melo? You don't like this new Melo who adjusted his game to make it all work?
No, I wasn't that crazy about him 10 years ago, Chris, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. What has he ever done? But shoot a lot of shots.
Well, I'm a firm believer. Me and Des talk about this all the time, and I say shooting's not a talent. If you tell me, if I was to ask a player of mine, being a coach, what is it that you're gonna do for us? And he say, well, I'm a shoot it, coach. I would say, no, son. Anybody can shoot it. What are you gonna do for us? What are you gonna bring to the table when the shot's not falling? Always assume that the shots, may not be falling. Then what? Then what are you gonna do for us? And Melo is one of those guys, albeit, I think he's one of the most talented offensively to ever come through the league. He's somebody who's done just that. He's put all his eggs in that one basket. But I'm a fan of what he's tried to do this year, being a little more selfless, playing a little bit more defense, definitely hitting the boards harder.
He's always been a good rebounder. Dad, this is a question for you. Can you name 5 better small forwards than Carmelo?
In what, the history of the game?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I can name about 50.
Dang.
5.
Well, who are some names that? Yeah, who are
5? That's easy. I can name 50.
I can think of 2 right off the top of my head: LeBron and Scotty. Who else?
2. Dominique Wilkins, Julius Erving. You want me to keep going?
So Bird is
Marcus Johnson. You want me to keep going?
Okay. So
you want me to keep going?
So is he not a top 10 small forward of all time?
I don't think so. James Worthy? Come on, man. Come on. He's a guy that could put it in the hole a little bit, but I've never been a big Melo fan. Don't think he's a winner. Just don't think the guy plays winning basketball to me. You know, he's a guy that wanted his numbers, wanted his shots, but he could definitely put the ball in the hole. I just don't consider him a winner. No, not one of my favorites.
So is he not a winner because is it just because he came in the league at the same time as LeBron in that 03 draft? And is it just after seeing LeBron and his career kind of go in their separate directions, or he's just not that type of talent?
I definitely think he's that type of talent.
I think all he did was score, to me. That's all.
He's a guy who I think he had the potential to possibly do a lot more, you know, if he could have been coached in the right way. I think we started to see a little bit of that in one of his last years with George Karl. I think they made it. They were in the playoffs and George Karl was out sick, but Melo was playing really good that year. I think we just kind of, you know, you were waiting to see the whole game unfold from Melo, kind of being a little more selfless and making guys around him a little bit better, and that just never happened.
Is his career better than Pierce?
Well, Pierce has got championships.
No, that's another one better than him.
Now tell me this, man, because I was just kind of thinking this to
another
myself,
one
man.
Before Paul Pierce.
Before KG, was Pierce not Melo?
And
like, what did Pierce do before KG got there?
Well, he had a playoff run when Antoine Walker was there.
Never to the finals.
No, never to the finals.
To the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, but he wasn't no coach killer.
Yeah, well.
I'm saying we mad at guys for that now, though. Hey, are we mad at stars for running the league as they should?
LeBron's a coach killer. He might get Tyronn Lue out of it after last night.
Yeah, Tyronn Lue is going to get himself out of
here. Hey, but LeBron's been to the finals 7 straight years.
Yeah.
Is it? Hey, Chris, do you agree with that? You think Pierce is better than Melo?
No, I'm not going to say that. I think that they made different decisions, and I respect Pop's right to think that, and I understand where that comes from, but I don't think he's a better talent than Carmelo Anthony. I think he just made better decisions. There was times when
I didn't say he's a better talent. Now Melo was talented. Melo could.
Well, you said he was a better player, so
I would rather have Paul Pierce all day long.
And I'm not saying that it depends on the situation. To me, you know, what guy is most appropriate. But no, I don't think he's better. I think they just chose different things. We've seen, and I think it's got a lot to do with the championship that he won at Syracuse. He didn't have the championship bug as bad as guys like LeBron. You know what I'm saying? And Dwayne Wade and even Chris Paul. Now we see, you know, him shaking it up and really trying to, go for the gusto and get him a ring. I mean, to me, I think that the college championship had a lot to do with it. He didn't really get that bug until later in his career. We've seen him like deliberately and consciously choose the money versus, you know, trying to be in a real contending situation. He's chosen the money time and time again. And like you said, you know, a situation where he could get his numbers and get his shots. I mean, it's going to be guys who are like that. You know what I'm saying? They want to play in the big markets and get the big money, and that's fine. You know, he was deserving of that. He was a marquee guy in this league for a long time. And I think, you know, he's still somebody, his skill set, you know, is invaluable. Being able to get buckets in ISO situations the way that he can.
Oh, come on, Chris. What are you talking about, 5 years ago or now?
No, I'm talking about right now.
Oh, my God.
I'm talking about right now. I think if his shots are managed in the right way, he's still someone who's very effective in the mid-range situation. He's a good catch-and-shoot guy.
Chris, he couldn't score on me, man, right now.
Oh, come on, Pop. I mean, I understand the decline.
Chris, I understand the decline. 20 years ago, I'm talking about right now.
He can still get his shot off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who you've been seeing. Guys. I don't know who you've been watching.
That turnaround is still as effective.
Yeah, it's still effective. The step back is still good money. You know, he need one good hard dribble, and he can pull back, and that's still a clean look for Melo. So no, don't disrespect him quite so much.
So let's say that the Thunder
so
and the
Melo
Warriors.
washed up, Pop. Is that what you saying?
I ain't saying he's washed up. I just don't think.
We'll say something definitive because I do think he's going to be big for whatever the Thunder are able to do. I think Carmelo is going to be a big part.
Can he outplay Draymond, Pops, in a 7-game series?
I think he can. And
Can
what
he
I've
outplay
seen,
Draymond? I doubt if he could outplay Draymond right now. I doubt it. I doubt it.
He definitely
So now
can.
we putting Draymond above Carmelo in the small forward ranking.
No, because Draymond's not a small forward.
Right.
But I'm just saying,
Small
I doubt
forward,
if
power forward.
I doubt if he could outplay Draymond right now. I really do.
I mean, no disrespect to Draymond. You know, I think he's one of the great defensive talents in the league since he came in. But like Carmelo he's the specific type of guy who kills.
Melo's a hip hop guy that you guys just happen to be fond of, and he's probably a good kid. But I'm not sure.
What is this about? Is this about the braids? He gave those up a long time ago. Like you said, this ain't the Melo from 5-6 years ago, man. This is the new Melo. And like I said,
you hip hop guys, y'all love Carmelo.
Like I said,
got to do with this. They all hip hop.
Yeah, that's the braids, man.
Yeah, you hip hop guys love Melo.
Like
man.
I said, it's no difference between the
Melo's
sports and hip hop cultures, man. Like Drake once said, we want to be them and they want to be us. Synonymous. They're the same.
Tell Melo to get to one finals in his career. Come on, man. He's 15 years in, isn't he? Ain't even been to the finals yet.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
He had AI. A decent AI couldn't get to the finals.
He played.
Come on, man.
He played.
He had a great coach in
He
George
played through
Karl,
Kobe
ran him out
Bryant's
of town.
era.
Come
He
on.
played through Kobe Bryant's era, and he's a guy who wasn't fortunate enough to be in the same draft class as LeBron James. And now he's playing through LeBron James' era. It's tough.
Melo could score the ball, but I didn't see him do much else.
Well, and I think y'all underestimating. He's not the first option. He's not even the second option. I think at this point, he's a solidified third option for OKC. He's not being asked to take the same volume of shots. He's not being asked to play the same, volume of minutes.
We'll see what he does in 3 weeks. Playoffs will be around tax time, so we'll see. We'll see if he impacts the playoffs at all. I doubt it very seriously.
Well, I don't. So that's where we definitely disagree there. So. I'll definitely be putting a little bookmark in that, and we're going to have to come back to that in a few weeks, Pop. I'm real excited.
But you can catch him on BET, though. I know that's where he's seen. One of those hip-hop shows.
So who y'all got right now, man? Who's your Eastern Conference pick and your Western Conference pick?
I'm so tired of having this conversation.
Wait, just say it. Just say it. If the playoffs is that fast, just put the predictions in. We'll revisit it, in June.
Well, I got the Cavs coming out the East.
Of course.
And I've got the Houston Rockets coming out the West.
Who you
I got the
Dad?
Rockets coming out the West.
I'm going with Chris.
Oh, you think the Cavs gonna make it out?
I still can't see somebody.
And I do that kills me about y'all. Y'all like to speculate and all this, that, and the third.
Somebody proves to me that they can beat LeBron 4 times.
Ain't that what I said? That exact same thing.
I'm going
right
with
here in
Brian.
this same studio a week ago, Pop. I sat here and said the same thing,
Brian.
and it was all Chris.
But Chris, ain't gonna be no 12-2, 12-3 record this year. I'm telling you.
For last time I checked, you don't have to do that to get to the finals.
You got to win 12 games to get to the finals,
Yeah,
Chris.
you got to win 12 games, but you don't have to whoop on everybody like that.
Chris, you got to win 16.
He used to do that for fun.
You got to win 16 to win it all, so that means you got to win 12 to get to the finals.
Man, let me get my picks in, man. I'm gonna go with LeBron, and I'm gonna go with the Warriors. Now, tell me this: will LeBron make it out if they change the format to where it's not just the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, but just the top 16 teams in the league?
I gotta hear from Pop on this.
Brian wouldn't be in the finals if that was the case this year. No, Brian wouldn't see no finals this year.
So Brian would be in the top 16 seed in the league. You don't think that?
Oh, he'd be in the top 16, but he said, would he make? What was your question? Would he make?
That's
it to the
what
finals?
it would be. The top 16 seeds.
But would he make it to the finals?
Would he make it to the finals?
If the format was different, so he would have to face a Western Conference team possibly, and not just beat a team in the East.
Tell me what the difference is. Tell me what the difference is. I don't see a difference.
He might have to catch Houston or Golden State before the finals. Or San Antonio, who definitely beats Pop been beating Brown for years.
Yeah, he's lost to him some too.
Oh, come on, man! Come on.
I mean, ask him.
All
you gotta do
Ray
is
Allen
ask him.
shot on that Ray Allen shot. Come on, man.
Yeah,
you consider that a victory?
As Pop, they say, hey, it don't matter how you get.
Oh man,
know?
LeBron was lucky to win that series. You know what I always say, Chris? LeBron could easily be. What do I always say? What is he? 3-5. He could easily be 1-7. Easily, Chris, in the finals. He didn't have to win that one that he won with Cleveland, and he definitely didn't have to win that one when Ray Allen hit the shot.
But he did. Like,
he
did.
Right. What?
He did.
I'm trying to.
LeBron could easily be 1-7 in the
Did y'all
finals.
hear
He
the
could easily
bewilderment?
be 8-0.
I was trying to think of
could
something to
easily
say,
be-
but there's a lot of things that could easily
How could
be.
he easily be 8-0, dude?
I mean, you know,
Dallas clearly outplayed him.
Yeah,
San
he's-
Antonio clearly
hey,
outplayed
look,
him.
this is a wild life we live in, man.
Only
We all a
legitimate
breath from
finals he
something
won
crazy.
was against OKC, and that was in a strike-shortened season, and OKC was young. Come on, man. Brian has struggled in the finals, man. That's why I say he ain't Mike.
Do y'all like?
Mike 6-0.
Do y'all like the change
Okay,
if they did it?
Fair enough.
Hey, Chris, Mike
LeBron's got a mixed bag.
Never saw a game 6 in the finals.
Yeah, absolutely not. And
Bron got to own that finals record. Bron's one of the top 5 ever, but he's got to own that finals record, fellas.
I
He
mean,
he does own
I
it,
mean,
Okay.
and he's
he
still
owns it.
considered one of the greatest ever.
all right
No
now.
question about it.
Okay.
But that man could
what are we
easily
talking
be
about
1-7
then?
in the finals, and
What-
that's not.
Yeah,
Like
well, what
Kenyon
are we
Martin
talking
said,
about?
that's not good.
Count
What did
Kenyon Martin
Hey,
rings and count LeBron.
what did Kenyon say? That's not good. He said 3-5. That's not good.
Didn't LeBron?
He's
dunk on
0-2
Kenyon
in the finals. Kenyon Martin 0-2. What's
Yeah.
better, 3-5
Didn't LeBron
or
dunk on
0-2?
Kenyon Martin a few years back, if I'm not mistaken?
Kenyon said that's not good. Brown's final record is shaky, man. Shaky.
Well, all I'm
But he's
say
a bad
is-
boy, though. No question.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a lot of guys who would kill to say they played in 8 finals. You know, he's a guy who's, you know, he's looking at his 8th consecutive, and he's been at this a long time, man.
Yeah,
I
you gotta
think
give him credit for that.
LeBron is okay with what people say about him. I think he's okay
I
with
hope
it.
he is, but he got to own that finals record.
So okay, well, we talked about how it would affect LeBron, but do you like the idea of that? You somebody who's been watching the NBA a long time. Do you like the idea of a 16 team?
No, I don't like it. I think these things go in cycles. Let the East and the West be like it's been for years. Sooner or later, the East gonna be dominant. Then what you gonna say? Then you know, I don't like that 1-16 stuff. I don't. In my opinion, let it be like it's these things go in cycles. East is getting stronger. More stars are in the East, and it'll even out.
You think
No, I
that's
don't
why
like
they
it.
want to do it? Because it's
Yeah, because they think Golden State is too dominant. I'm guessing that's why they want to do it.
My whole thing is that what would be the difference? To me, Golden State is so far ahead of any team in the East or West. To me,
I like it, to be honest, man. It's certain teams that's been out in the West that I always wanted to see in the playoffs, but they was just out West. And certain teams that we've seen sneak in the East at the bottom end that shouldn't have been in it, man. Like I would love this. Like some of them years that Denver just was close enough, man. They had some good teams in the past couple of years, man. The Utah Jazz.
I think this is just something to get fans hyped because it lets teams that ultimately just aren't good enough. It gives their fans the prospect of seeing their team in the playoffs. But I don't know. To me, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of it either.
Well, what's a negative about it?
I mean, to me, the negative about it is, I don't know. It's just that
It ain't like it's any real rivalries now that you're gonna lose the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, don't get it
like
twisted.
Ain't no rivalries
There
in
are
the NBA.
rivalries in the NBA.
But not based off the divisions.
Why have separate conferences then, dude?
Well, I think they're gonna get rid of the conferences if they go to this 1-16 format. It ain't gonna be no Eastern Conference conference. It's gonna be one NBA. So now you ain't gotta work. Now you could probably even out the 82 game schedule to where, you know, you facing more team. You'll see the better teams in the Western and Eastern Conference play each other as much as they play any other team.
Is that the plan?
To get rid of the Eastern Western Conference, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I thought they had kind of did it like that for you know, like for the sake of like traveling and stuff like that, the teams that are closer to each other play each other, you know, more often. Because, I mean, that kind of makes sense when we trying to cut down on back-to-backs and travel times and things of that nature. I think the notion of that, it just kind of has the league heading in opposite directions. I don't think it works from a geographical standpoint. You know, these guys, ultimately, they got to fly and catch flights to play each other, and it all takes time. And we're trying to give these guys more time to heal, more time to, you know, more downtime, more time to practice, put the best product on the court every night. Like I said, I just think it's kind of counterproductive to some of the other things that are just flat out bigger on the league's agenda. These other teams, they got to step it up. If you out west, the competition has been stiffer these last few years. If you out east, you know you probably got to go through LeBron James. There's no way around it. I mean, it's something everywhere. Either you going to get good enough to make it happen or you're not. Like, I mean, and I just say this. Look at what Kevin Durant did. You know what I'm saying? He left OKC, but he didn't think, oh, let me go to the East. He went to the best team that he could possibly go to. It didn't matter what conference it was. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I don't think that matters. Guys just want to be good enough. But, you know, it's juggernauts on both sides. Like, on both sides. So at the end of the day, you're going to have to beat somebody really good if you want to go to the finals. This is the NBA. Like, stop.
So you don't think that the best 16 teams.
Not only that, but if you do the best 16 teams, I think that it gives a greater opportunity. We could see like lesser matchups in the finals. Like, I don't want to see like I don't want to see a weird matchup in the finals. Like,
you would want to see Houston and the Warriors in the finals.
Like, yeah. Well, I would like to see that. That would be something that could be cool to see. But my whole thing is you get to see that in the Western Conference Finals, or if they play each other out west. Like, to me, it's not a big deal. Whether it's for the finals, the matchup is the matchup. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, and ultimately, you know, whether it's to move on or whether it's for, you know, the satisfaction of a championship, it's got to get done. Like, Houston is not going to get to duck the Warriors. It'll be different, like, if the best guy. This is a conversation, to me, that'll have been better had, like, back when we was trying to get Kobe and LeBron in the finals together. But, like, it's not that type of situation anymore. I don't see the real merit of it. Like, I just think you changing it because it'll be different. And then, you know, in a couple years, once the matchups kind of settle and you kind of see how the teams fall, you know, with the top 16 set up, then, you know, we'll be ready for something different again because we'll want to see the other matchups again. So it's just different. I mean, we could shake up anything to make the game different. And I think ultimately it's just an ode to how uncompetitive the league is and how kind of pedestrian the regular season experience has been. They trying to shake it up at all costs. Break up the talent. Like, Kevin Durant should have never gone to the Golden State Warriors. Point blank, period. It's been bad for the league ever since.
I agree there. So you're telling me that there won't be any conferences. They're just going to line up 32 teams, top 16 teams make the playoffs. That's how it's going to go?
Yeah.
Okay, but what about what Chris said with scheduling and, you know.
He hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
Like,
what's up with that?
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not the commissioner.
You're telling me that we're going to be flying out to L.A. 4 times a year?
I would think 2 games there, 2 games here.
That's how they're going to do it?
If they made the change, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said,
the owners are going to be good with that, with the extra travel costs and whatnot.
I don't know. It's not going through. It was just something that they talked about. If they were to do it.
Let me ask you this, Pop. Is there any value in tradition? Do you feel like there's anything lost? And just in a traditional way that the playoffs have, you know, occurred, do we lose anything from our game in the sense of tradition if there is a change like that? Because that's a huge change. You can't sleep on how big of a change that is. We talk about the opportunity to play for a championship here, which is the goal of everybody in the NBA. I hope, you know, to win a championship. You know, the way that you go about it is changing in a significant way.
The traditional part, I mean, you know, I mean, It would be interesting. The traditional part, I don't think. When I think of the NBA, I definitely don't think of tradition. Especially Eastern Western Conference. Nah, I don't.
I just think of those historic battles. You know what I'm saying? Would the Celtics and Lakers, would that mean as much? Because it's not like the East versus West type situation. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think about the battles that that even the Cavs have had with the Pistons in the past, and the battles that we've had with the Bulls when Derrick Rose was an MVP. Like it's just different things. Like
Jordan
do we lose?
Cavs.
Is the significance of those matchups, are they affected at all? Like that to me, that's history. That's classic stuff.
I think there's more history to be created. Now you got a chance to, if you finish around the same spot, man, you can face the same team a couple years straight. Now a new rivalry is created, or you meet a team in the playoffs every time you get a chance to meet them.
I think the exact opposite is more likely to happen, though. I think that the matchups become like more like these randomized type matchups. And I think it could be like better in the sense like we see in the tournament now, like anybody could be anybody. These teams aren't as familiar with each other. Mm-hmm. So, like it does, like anybody can beat anybody. It's like this wild situation where, it's just a crazy wild card type matchup versus like, whereas now it's kind of like a more strategic thing. You know how guys are going to try to attack you. You know how, you feel like you need to try to win against, the guys that you've been going against. So I don't know. I think you lose just a little something there. I just feel like you do. And maybe it's just me not liking change. I'm not sure. But
if you seeded it this year, no doubt though, wouldn't you think the 1 and 2 seeds would end up at the end? That being Houston and Golden State?
No, not necessarily.
You don't think so?
No, and like I said, I think a lot of that would be with the unfamiliarity. You mean to tell me a team like Toronto couldn't come through and just catch Houston, sleeping? Sure.
I think if you did it this year, I bet you the final two teams left standing would be Houston.
I think Cavs would be like the 6th seed or like that 7th seed. That means they'll be matching up with Houston or the Warriors in like the quarterfinals or.
No, the 16th seed would match up with the 1st seed. Mm-hmm. So we would be in the middle, like matching up like 7-8.
That's why I said we would meet them in the quarterfinals.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first round, but it don't matter. If we gonna beat them, we gonna beat them. If we gonna lose to them, we gonna lose to them. It don't matter where we meet them at.
I guess that was the original question.
Is this the thing, like the whole thing? So LeBron can't say he keep going to the finals. Like it just seems like everything that the league is trying to do is somehow trying to dethrone LeBron. Like everything that we tired of him keep going to the finals. We don't want him to keep going to all these finals. We don't want him to be able to say he went to 11, 12, 13 straight finals. Like, is that what this is about? All right, then do it then. But, like, to me, that's the only thing. That's the only thing.
I don't know. It doesn't like if it does happen, it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen soon. I know LeBron was against it. I haven't heard any other players speak up about it, but I thought it was interesting, man. I always find the NCAA, very competitive and fun to watch, man. And like you said, anybody can win, anybody can lose. So if it brought that type of excitement, which I don't know if it would, because college basketball, 64 teams is a lot different than 16.
And these are one-game playoffs, too, in the college. Those would be series. But I think if you took this year as an example, if you ended up with Golden State, and it'd be fun to see Golden State and Houston, which to me are clearly the two best teams, play against each other.
But like Chris said, you're going to see that anyway. You're just not going to see them in the finals.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. To see them in the finals is what would be the big deal. Not to see them in the Western Conference Finals. To see them in the finals for all the marbles. That would be a hell of a series.
I mean,
so when all the marbles are there, it's going to be a better series?
It's an opportunity. You playing for all the marbles in the Western Conference. This is to go to the finals. This is all the marbles. Like what? Every series is all the marbles. Because if you lose, you go home. No more playing. You don't get the opportunity to win a championship.
Yeah, but that's not the final series.
No, but it's all the marbles still. It's still a win or go. There's
a chance that team from the East could beat them. I mean, I doubt it, but there's still that chance. But if those two were the two best
put it
last
like this.
teams
There's
standing.
no chance that they can win a ring if they lose in the Western Conference Finals. If we're talking chances.
That's why you want them in the finals, the two best teams, ideally. Am I right?
But you know what else would be bad, I think? Time. If two teams out west make it, I know sometimes I hated staying up till like 10 o'clock just to see the start of the game.
That's another factor.
We out here on the East Coast, man. I ain't trying to see no 9:30, 10 o'clock starting to watch the finals. And that's when the Cavs was in it. It was tough to watch, man. We was up there at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. trying to see who won the game. But because I would want to watch the finals, but not to see two teams out west play at 9:30 every night. You know, when it's here at the East, at least they start at 8. Because that 2 hours make a difference.
Yeah, that's another factor. Do you want to lose? You want to lose? Say you got for instance, say you got the two LA teams in the finals. You might lose half the country.
Right on the as viewers.
So, there's a lot of factors that go into that. How many people in New York and the East Coast where the big markers are going to be interested in the L.A. Clippers, L.A. Lakers finals?
Well, it depends who's in it now. If it was some stars coming out the L.A. Lakers and Clippers, right now ain't nobody for the Clippers, but.
Well, I'm just saying. But just for instance,
yeah,
you're still gonna. That might be another reason not to do it.
Yeah,
you want to pick up the whole country.
I agree with that.
You want to pick up the whole country.
I agree with that 100%. Like I said, geographically.
Geographically, it might hurt. I mean, you get L.A. and L.A. Just for instance, say they both get good. I mean, our team's going to East Coast. Cities from the East Coast going to be that interested in it. I don't know. You can lose a large percent. Two of the top 3 cities are in this time zone, right? With Chicago and New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's a
how
good point.
interested with those fans being an LA series, for instance. So it's a lot.
You already know if it's boiling down to dollars and cents, and if it's going to be any losses involved, you can pretty much go ahead and cancel the change out. Won't be any change.
Or imagine a Washington-Boston finals. Suppose that happened. How many people out west?
The people on the West Coast definitely aren't interested in that.
Yeah, they're not going to be interested in that.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Living on the West Coast is kind of fun, man. Cause I remember one time when I was out there, man, seeing games start at 5 o'clock is life. For us on the East Coast, man. I mean, you get out of work. When I spent my time out on the West Coast for a little bit. By the time we got off of work, 5 o'clock, Boston was playing at 5, and games on through the night, man. It's a difference. Us, we wait 7, we wait until 8 for the games to start. They get off of work and the game's already on.
Yeah, I mean, some of us got errands to run after work. So I don't know. Like I'm a Midwest boy. You understand? I don't know. Sometimes I got things to do after work, so I'm not ready for the game right after work at 5. And we get some games that start at 7:30.
Yeah.
It's not always a late situation. We call that the evening. Remember, Granny called that the evening. You know what I'm saying? Well, this evening, it'd be a little ball game on. It's all good with me, man.
Y'all got anything else, man? Any tournament talk, man? Any tournament predictions, man?
Who does Pop like in the tournament?
Haven't made a prediction in years, Chris. Haven't made a prediction in years. Just want to sit back and enjoy the tournament. I was a little disappointed to see the big boy leave out the possible number 1 pick in next year's draft. Well, in this year's draft.
Who's that, Trae Young?
No, Ayton.
Okay.
A little disappointed to see them
them
lose like
out?
they did. Buffalo put them out. Guard, like I always say, guard play is the key in the tournament, man. And they had about 2 or 3 guys that could go get it off the bounce, and I think they beat them by over 20 points.
Did they?
Ayton had 13 shots, I think, and it
representing the
wasn't
MAC.
a factor.
Buffalo.
Yeah, but really, truthfully, like I said, I think more than anything, the unfamiliarity. You don't know how these teams are going to come at you. That and then it's one game. That's tough. I think
shout out
coaching,
to the
you
MAC,
say
man.
guard play, but I really do think it is coaching and how you prepare that's why I think, at the end of the day, we do end up seeing a lot of the powerhouses actually win it all at the end of the day. It's because it's how you prepare. You know what I'm saying? It's how you get your team ready to face a new foreign challenge pretty much, every time you go out there in a tournament. I think that's the biggest challenge. And, for me, I'm going to really go with the coaching. And I got to give it up. I'm thinking a big program, one of the powerhouses.
That's his brother. We was talking about that earlier. We watched this Xavier game. We seen Cantor, and then we kind of seen his face like, man, he look like Ennis.
Hey, I did. I seen the name at the bottom, and I'm like, and yeah, maybe I seen his face a little bit. Oh, that's his little brother?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who was that he was playing for?
Xavier.
Okay.
But so why you say guard play is the key to the tournament?
I just think it always has been. You look, them teams that had them nice backcourts. Generally,
I see why you say that.
Generally do well in the playoffs.
Well, we seen
three ball is
seen Walker win.
I feel like the set defense. Well, Kimba. Like I just say, that year Kimba was the hottest. He was the hottest ISO guy in the tournament that year, and he was. I mean, if you really remember, Kimba was just killing dudes' ankles. That's what he was doing. He was killing dudes' ankles and getting the buckets.
It's a lot of teams though that win without great guard play. I don't remember.
I do feel like you got to be able to hit the three ball.
Carmelo won.
You got to be able to hit the three ball.
When Syracuse won with Carmelo was the best player.
That was a long time ago.
They had
Hakeem Mork.
Didn't they have what's his name? That guard.
McMahon or something, McMahon.
Whatever his name was.
Little white dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He played well in that tournament.
Yeah, he did. And with the shooting. Mm-hmm. You need that shooting on these set defenses. It's hard to go one-on-one. It's hard to, get to the basket all the time. You got to be able to, rotate the ball, reverse the court and shift the defense and knock down a three ball in the corner on the wing. You got to have it. And, only a guard is going to be in position to do that for you 9 times out of 10.
See, I go back to the days when Cleveland State made their run. What did they have? Outstanding guard play.
Who are some of the guards they had?
Like they had, what they have? They had the two small guards. Then they had Miles.
Was Norris Cole there?
No, this.
He talking about the 80s.
You guys weren't even born then. But they had the two small guards. I think Eddie and I forget the other guy's name. Then they had Miles McFadden. They just guard play, man. To me, is when back in '83 when low and when North Carolina State pulled off the big upset. It was guard play. I've always thought guard play. How you figure
it's not about guards, Des? Like it's about guards in the NBA as well. They the biggest stars in the game. I mean, from
basketball's a big man game, man. I feel like size matters.
Size matter, but I mean, the big guys are playing guard. We seeing that more and more.
Yeah,
guys who would have been wing players
with the three ball
guards.
Yeah,
now.
With
they
the
got
three
guard
ball
type
now. Big man's almost obsolete.
So I guess is you talking about ball handling or guards?
Well, what did Oscar say? The most important thing that in basketball is to be able to get where you want to with the ball. And I don't know. To me, with the advent of the three ball, that's just changed the game. Just changed the game completely. Big men. I mean, you need them. Don't get me wrong, but it's the wing guys.
I get what you saying, Des. I mean, size is obviously it's always going to be a huge factor when you talk about being effective in the game of basketball. But I think what we saying is it's the guys that had their balls in the hand the most that got to kill for you. And in the college game, that's your guards.
If you're building a team at any level of basketball, I mean, from Pee Wee to the NBA,
I'm starting with a guard type player.
I agree. And
I'm starting with a guard.
I guess that's where I'm leaning toward. I guess I was gonna say I'm leaning towards what y'all say because I'm looking to get my point guard, somebody that can run my offense and can run the team.
And he can be 6'8" or whatever, but he gotta have that skill set. He gotta be able to do those things for me, like Pop just alluded to in the words of the great Big O. He's got to be able to get me places and get my team in position with the ball. That's what's got to happen. That's the essence of playmaking.
So from what I'm hearing, though, we don't have any predictions for the tournament.
I can't call it. I haven't called a tournament in years. Maybe when they get down to the Sweet 16, after I've watched a little bit, I may be able to tell you something next week on the Sweet 16 after I've watched these guys. But I just don't. College basketball has lost a lot of its luster, so nobody follows the regular season anymore, really. You know, you get to the tournament, you get a feel for the teams, but to be honest with you, I mean, you know.
Well, I've watched probably more regular season college basketball this year than I ever have.
It didn't put you to sleep?
No, I thought it was very competitive this year, actually. You didn't think so?
Man, if I want to take a good nap.
Well, Trae Young started us off. Well, that's because you got, hey, listen, when you got every game that's coming on, man, I can see how, the overexposure. Yeah, that happened to you sometimes.
Is this the best postseason format?
Most exciting.
Yeah, and I was just about to say that. But I like the difference. I don't want the NBA and the college I don't want it to have the same feel. Like I said, I feel like the NBA playoffs, it's a deliberate 7-game series. You got to be a little more tactical. You got to be a little more strategic. Hopefully, you know your enemy. You know what I'm saying? You know how they're going to try to attack you. Hopefully, you got a feel for how you want to attack them. It's a different way that you win.
I like
versus in the tournament.
In the NBA, though, I like to see a Goliath go down every now and then, and it rarely happens. Rarely happens.
I think the last one I kind of remember was when Golden State beat Dallas, and I'm talking about Golden State with Baron Davis and Steven Jackson.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! But that series was so fun to watch.
Yeah,
but
I remember that.
It rarely happens, and to me, I like to see more of it.
Well,
Wouldn't
because
you like
I
to see
think
somebody knock off Golden State this
in
year,
a 7-game series, the best team wins.
But to me, that's the league's fault, though. The league has they've let it get out of hand, and like I said, to me, it's all been in the effort to kind of stifle LeBron James and his greatness, man. And like, if they played the game fair, this man, I think he would have a lot more on his finger. Once Tim Duncan got out of the league, I think it was gonna be really his show. It was gonna be his show, and he was gonna collect 2-3 more. They had to.
When was the last great playoff we had? Was that 2 years ago when we had all those exciting? Was that a round or was that 2 rounds where we had pretty exciting? I think especially in the Western Conference, we had some pretty exciting series.
The greatest playoff experience watching for me was the year before last. When the home team brought it home, that was the most exciting.
That was
well, you talking about all the matchups.
I'm talking about all the matchups.
Like, when have you been able to watch the NBA? Like, when was NBA excited through it?
Yeah, all the way
sometimes,
through
it was boring.
A
lot of those series was
so
boring.
just predictable and just, oh my God.
Yeah.
Put you to sleep.
I feel like there was some good ones.
I think it was a couple of years ago that Western Conference had, was that 2 or 3 years ago when that Western Conference was, them playoff series was pretty good. But, I mean, that just rarely happens, man. Like I said, I like to see some upsets, some Goliaths go down. Be great to see somebody beat Golden State or Houston this year. Or
well, let's see what Lillard do, man. It gotta be them other stars, man. Anthony Davis, man.
Houston.
So at the end of the day, those guys got to be better. We don't need to change the format up.
No,
those guys just got to be better, right?
I agree.
Yeah, they got to be better, man.
But in the final, who's gonna be in the Western Conference Finals, Chris? Houston and Golden State. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
But
any doubt?
Can the Thunder beat them? Can the Thunder beat them?
Can the Thunder beat who?
Either.
If any team could pull out an upset in the West, I would think it would be the Thunder.
I agree with that.
Because of Russell and Paul.
I got a quick question before we close up.
No love for Melo.
Not because of your boy Melo.
He been saying that all night, too. He been making that plain like Russell and Paul.
Melo might be a great guy, man.
I'm gonna give some love to his character, but he's not a great ball player.
What is it? It's the braids, Dad. That's what you said it was, Key. He was tripping about the braids.
He said hip hop. These hip hop guys, and I said, oh, that's got to be the braids.
Because he rocking with Terror Squad.
I just don't think Melo. I don't know if winning was a priority for Melo. Yeah, I think he like to get his shots, he like to get his numbers. So just not a big fan of the guy. But
it's tough for me to agree with that.
Man,
and that's what I'm just trying to recognize his talent.
Points, right? Did he just get 20 or 25, right?
I would have to look it up.
I think it's 25. So, I mean, he can put the ball in the basket.
Yeah. I believe if LeBron just got 30,000 at some point this year, right?
Yeah, so he's at 25.
Yeah, he was at 25.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta look at Pierce and Carmelo, man.
Man, the numbers I don't think is going to be I don't think it's going to be as comparable as one might think.
No, they won't be as comparable. But if you ask me who I'd rather have,
well, tell me this before KG did, because I don't remember him. Has he made the Eastern Conference before KG? Paul Pierce.
The playoffs, yeah. Him and Antoine Walker had a playoff
Eastern Conference Finals.
Not the playoffs, the Eastern Conference Finals. Because I definitely remember AI make. I know they for a fact they probably didn't.
But Mike didn't make the final. But I know he outplayed LeBron in a 7-game series, and he outplayed Kobe Bryant in a 7-game series. Enough said. Am I right, Chris?
That is good for the resume.
I mean, yeah.
If
I'm not mistaken, though, that was the same year.
Yeah, they did it, and he did it the
he
same
said,
year.
so he got one good year.
Yeah. One good year with two other Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I know. That's why he got that nickname.
And you heard what Rondo said. He said he carried that team.
and I'm not going to lie. Like, I tend to believe him. Don't get it twisted. They don't win without Rondo.
Oh, I agree. Rondo's a big part, man.
They don't win
Rondo
without
a legend
Rondo.
in my mind, man. Rondo would have won the series. I mean, the Bulls would have won the series last year if Rondo don't get hurt. Celtics don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Hey, that's something to think about.
Well, anybody can outplay LeBron James and Kobe Bryant back to back. You got to respect that.
He is he's good.
Not too many guys can do that. Paul Pierce did it.
But
Paul
seems
Pierce
like,
did it.
And I don't mean to disrespect him because I really do respect his game.
Yeah, me too.
I think he got a real meat potatoes game. You know what I'm saying? He got the turnaround. You know what I'm saying? Get to the free throw line. You know, he can knock down the big shots. You seen him kind of just get that space and hit.
I guess my knock on him is I've heard him say it more than once is, only if I was younger, if me and LeBron could have came out around the same time, I wonder how our careers would have been different.
Man, your career would have been worse than what it
my
was.
thing is, what did you do before LeBron got in the league? Like, when did you come like you had your chance to win plenty of playoff series and you didn't, and you had.
I think what he means to say is, I wish KG and Ray Allen would have came earlier. If I was just younger when they came, we could have had a shot to do something.
I just never understood that argument. Like, if you had greats, AI, you had your chance to beat AI in the playoffs, you didn't. Or when Vince Carter was in the East, and you had your chance, man. He's a guy now. He's a legend for what he did though.
I think Paul Pierce is a dude who do he. I'm not gonna say he misremembers things, but he definitely a fan of himself though. If you hear him talk, now that he a telecaster, like he a fan of himself. He a fan of himself for sure. And I think it's like Pops alluded to. He remembers that year, and he remembers that series. And he just won't let it go. You know that time where the dude up at the rec get the best of you that one time, and he like, hey, you know how I used to do you. Like, come on, man. That was one time, bro. That was one time. We played 100 times. That was one time. So, and I don't fault the guy for that though. That's the memorable moments for him.
Yeah, because he was big shot. He hit a lot of big shots.
Oh yeah, and you clutch as can be, and a pit bull. Like, he gonna come at your neck, and he wanted to guard you in the big moments. Yeah. He wanted you, and that's why I really like him, because in his prime, he really was a two-way player in his prime.
I think Draymond summed it up the best. When they got into their little spat, like, man, you thought you was Kobe?
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie. I think for Boston, don't get it twisted. He probably run Boston.
Yeah.
He the man out in Boston. Like, oh, what? Get him a free sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And Paul Pierce in the building. No, without a doubt. He kissing babies, handshakes, autographs all day long, up there in Boston. He's a Boston legend.
Is he a top 10 small forward all time that you seen?
Whoa. Now, if you got 55 guys better than Melo, I know you got 30 better than Paul Pierce. Come on now. He ain't that much better than Melo. Even if you think, do you think it's that big?
I would guess there were 10 small forwards better than Paul Pierce.
Oh, you would guess.
I would guess. But Carmelo Anthony ain't one of them.
If Melo could hear this, Melo would probably go crazy.
Melo could score the ball, though. I will give him credit for that. That's one thing he could do.
I don't know. So you don't give Melo any credit for even ushering in talents like, Kevin Durant, just showing guys that, hey, you could be 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", and you can still do all of these types of things with the ball. And, I give him credit for that. Like, to me, Melo is the guy who had, like, those 4-ish type players. Like, no, I still want to be able to dribble. I still want to be able to shoot. You know what I'm saying? I can be like a ISO player. Like, cause even LeBron, as good as he is, I mean, he's so great that he's a great, tremendous ISO threat. But I don't consider him like an ISO guy. You know what I'm saying? Like Melo's an ISO guy. And you don't see many guys at 6'8", 6'9", 6'7", whatever. A true thoroughbred ISO guy. You just don't see it a lot, especially the way that he able to go about it with the jumper. It's ice cold.
All right, man. I agree, man. Everything that Melo's done in his career, I really wish I could I'm gonna go back and watch some film, man, because I don't know why I was thinking about that, man, and that was really on my mind between Pierce and Melo, and this is funny that we got to talk about it today.
Quick update. Cleveland Browns, we is reporting live from the 216. Cleveland Browns did pick up that boy Carlos Hyde this week. We very excited to have him in the city and, at the prospect of having him be a part with Saquon Barkley in that backfield, because I'm speaking things into existence for the Super Bowl bound Cleveland Browns. We will be taking Saquon Barkley with the first pick overall and combine him with Carlos Hyde for one of the most dynamic backfields this year. I'm calling it.
Chris.
What's up?
I don't know anything about football.
1,200.
They are not taking
1,200, 8 touchdowns.
Chris,
those two guys,
they are not taking Saquon Barkley with the number one pick. They are not doing that.
They're gonna take him.
And I don't know a thing about football.
And they're gonna do 1,200 with 8 touchdowns between the two of them.
Chris, they're picking a quarterback.
8 touchdowns. That's what's gonna happen.
Quarterback, Chris.
No, they're not taking a quarterback. Our guy ain't in this draft. No, our guy ain't in this draft.
Even if he's not in this draft, you still take a quarterback.
I don't think so.
We ain't got no quarterbacks on the roster.
Chris, why
you going with Kessler?
Why are they taking Chris? Why they taking Saquon with their number one pick? What makes you say that?
Because hopefully, I think that this new regime realizes if they do, I don't know. I just want to see them take the best guy on the board with the number one pick. We got 4. Let's go with a guy at 4. If somebody's there. But it's just, to me, there are no sure things. But at quarterback, to me, you want to try to get as close as possible for your situation. Let's put some talent around the position to where we can even properly evaluate it. To me, it's tough to see what a guy can and can't do if you don't have any assets around him. So, no, you can't see if he can throw a great deep ball in the NFL because you don't have any deep threats. You can't see if he's somebody who can, really be accurate and complete a bunch of passes in a row because he doesn't have anybody who can get open. So, no, let's put some talent around the position. Let's worry about everything but quarterback. The other positions are easier to evaluate. You know what I'm saying? The success rate is much higher. I mean, it's hard to find an NFL quarterback. With the number one pick, you should be able to get a sure value pick, barring injuries or anything like that. The guy that you take number 1 overall, he should be able to be a contributor. Maybe not a franchise guy, but he should definitely be an instant contributor.
I don't see why y'all think Barkley is going to be an instant contributor, man. I've seen him in big games, man, and he wasn't that impressive. I feel like the bigger the game is, the worse he got. I feel like a lot of his best games.
Well, when you play running back, you got to understand that a lot of that, it's a lot of things that factor into that outside of what it is that you're able to do. And that's why the film is so important. And you got to be able to break that down and look at the situations and the different things that different matchups that he just creates, mismatches he creates for the defense. I mean, this is a different game, football. We're not talking about basketball no more. We're talking about football. And a lot of times, guys bearing on the game.
He's not Ezekiel Elliott.
No,
he's not even close. He's not even close.
I haven't heard that comparison.
I'm not saying they compare him to him, but his impact.
I haven't heard that comparison.
The comparison as far as impact.
To me,
like
they different kind of players. They two totally different kind of players, man.
Zeke, who does he strike you as, Chris?
Who does he strike me as?
Mm-hmm. Give me a comparable, as they say, or comparable that I would know about.
I want to say, just because of his playmaking. When I think about a playmaker at the position, I want to say Shady McCoy.
So we using the number 1 pick for Shady McCoy?
Yeah, I'm talking about LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, he a franchise guy.
Even if I still wouldn't use the number 1 pick for Shady McCoy.
This ain't the strongest draft. Like,
I don't.
This is not a great draft.
I'm still going for Bradley Chubbs, man, with the number 1 pick.
And you know what? If they do that, fine. I'm not mad at that. That bolsters the defense. That'll be 2 years in a row we win defense with the number 1 overall. And I've been saying it. I've been hollering it out. I say, hey, you know, this league is made off of big skill playmakers. You know what I'm saying? Your skill playmakers, obviously the quarterback, and who's the guys who stop those guys? It's got to be your edge rushers. And I mean, to me, that's just as big for us as a quarterback is. It's just on the defensive end. If we could get a stud pass rusher who could do double-digit sacks, you know, back-to-back years in a row, that type of production we definitely need. I plan for Myles Garrett to get there, and I think if we could put a guy with him, you know, that's not a bad thing. I just want us to be aggressive and go for the gusto. Let's take somebody who's the best at their position or the best on that side of the ball. Let's not trade it away and, you know, think that, you know, we suck so bad at this. The more chances is the better for us. Let's go with a quality talent guy and act like we got some guys on our board who we're crazy about. You know what I'm saying? Or we're saying this is the guy at this pick. Like, we got a plan for some of these guys.
If you knew Lamar Jackson wasn't going to get picked in the first round, would you be okay with passing on quarterbacks in that first round?
Absolutely. Like, what have I just been saying? That and to me, that's much more likely to me than not.
That he fought, and that's what that would be.
That's
my
much
scenario.
more likely to me than not.
If we could get 2 stars, it's like, let's just say we go defense. If we get Chubbs, or if we get Barkley at the 4th or the 1st, or Chubbs and Minka Fitzpatrick, and then get Lamar Jackson with the 1st pick of the 2nd round, I think we come out the draft as winners, and then get a running back.
Man, we absolutely do. And that just lets you know the level of quarterbacks that are available in this draft. Lamar Jackson, you know, albeit he's gotten better. I mean, he's proven himself to not be like he's not your prototypical NFL passer. Like the guys that you see kind of really excel in the league, you know, he's not that. You know, he's kind of shown that he's not that. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely a project guy to me, but that's all of the guys. You know, none of the there is no Andrew Luck plug and play type situation. I don't think there's a Carson Wentz in this draft. I just don't think so. And I could be wrong.
Darnold's not that good?
One more time?
Darnold's not that good?
I think he has the best potential. I think so. If there is a guy in the draft, that's my pick, Darnold.
Like I said, it's not a great draft, especially at the quarterback position. So that's not saying much to me. But no, like I meant what I said. The Darnold included. Like there is no guy that I'm wild about at the quarterback position this year. Like to me, you know, they all of them are on a wing and a prayer as far as I'm concerned.
All right, man. Anything else? Do y'all want to get into Sam Bradford getting $20 million?
Why is that news? Because he's been doing that. Shout out to my agent. That's all I would say.
Kirk Cousins, you know, going to Minnesota. Are they Super Bowl bound?
I think Minnesota. I'm not gonna lie. It was. I think their team on the rise, but it's hard. It's hard in the NFL. I don't know. I just think they kind of, I don't want to say they missed their shot, but they were right there for the Super Bowl. And that hurts. Like, it's rare that, you know, if you're not the Patriots or, like, they're a team, they aren't like a, you know, they've been in the playoff mix and stuff, and they're a good team and all, but they just not one of those teams that they not the Packers or something like that. Like, they don't have those guys where you can really bank on them to make those deep playoff runs any given year. And I just think they kind of missed the bell a little bit, and I think that's going to hurt them.
And they in the Packers division, so if they are stay healthy.
And yeah, I think what I thought was the most intriguing outside of the stuff, the moves that the home team made, Jimmy Graham goes to the Green Bay Packers. Shout out to my boy C Farm, because I know he was loving that move. And I'm a big fan of it. I think that team, they talked about, I think Aaron Rodgers, since he's been in the league, he's thrown like 16 touchdown passes to tight ends and just 2 interceptions. So, you know, I said that in the red zone, for sure, that offense has definitely been missing something since they lost the likes of Jermichael Finley against those hard-hitting Cleveland Browns, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, that was a sad thing, obviously. I hated to see that really great young talent gone from the game too soon. But, you know, look for Aaron Rodgers to really heat up next year and get back to that old Aaron. You know, he's going to be looking to get his money. Just look for Aaron to come out really clicking on all cylinders. They just got to I'm looking for
Jordy gone.
Yeah, Jordy is gone. But like I said, the tight end is his favorite. And Jimmy Graham, ever since he left the Saints, I've been waiting for him to get back with a real quarterback. I was hoping that maybe my Panthers would get a chance at him. I know they got Greg Olsen out there, but maybe they would do some 2 tight end things, or maybe even let him be more like a wide receiver, which we know he all wants to get paid like. So, I don't know, but I'm really excited to see Jimmy Graham back with the lights of a premier passer in this league. You know, I can't wait to see the jump ball situations and what Mike McCarthy is able to do with him. That's going to be fun to watch.
Quick question, Chris, since you're the football expert.
Yes, sir.
Will Hugh Jackson get it done here?
Hugh Jackson will get it done here. He's paid his dues. And shout out to my Browns organization at front office for giving him a chance to work it out. And I mean, obviously, no games have been played, no games have been won, but it seems like he's starting to put together, you know, the type of roster, at least talent-wise or potential-wise, that we saw him do in Cincinnati, and that's why I was so excited for him to come here in the first place. Before you can start doing anything winning-wise, you got to get the personnel. You got to put the right guys on the field, and I think that's something that we failed at in such an epic way for so long. Finally, you starting to see some of the right guys get into play. Obviously, Josh Gordon was a piece that was already here, but if he could get him on the field, combined with what you know, our new front office regime has been able to do, man, I think that's gonna be very, very special to watch. And that's a lot of the reason why I would love to roll the dice on a playmaker like Saquon Barkley, because it's so much talent around him. It'd be different if this was the Browns. You know, he was coming to like last year where he would be the premier thing and pretty much all we could offer. But we've got some other guys to worry about now. So he'll be able to come in and like be a rookie. He's got somebody, you know, even at his position, you know, that's worthy of him looking up to him. You know what I'm saying? Like Carlos Hyde is a pros pro in this league. You know what I'm saying? He's a veteran guy at this point in his career, and he's been productive.
I guess, man, just because we coming from Cleveland, man. Any words to Joe Thomas, man? You know, retired, man.
Man, thank you, Joe Thomas, you know, for all of your work. You know, for so long, you were the only good thing about this franchise. And yeah, like you talk about somebody, a consummate professional, and a hell of a player. You know what I'm saying?
Now, what about if we make the playoffs last year? Was Joe Thomas a problem? No, I'm just playing with y'all, man. Gamepoint Podcast.